Dina. These are my top 12 tips for new military spouses. Okay, so number one, you need to get enrolled in DEERS. It's DEERS, and that stands for the Defense Enrollment Eligibility Reporting System. The soldier would complete, I think, an 1172 form to get all your information listed. You'll need to have your birth certificate, social security card, an ID, and getting put into the DEERS system will help when you go to get a military identification card. You're gonna need one. You'll need one to access the base. You'll need one, or wherever you're going to be, the port, Navy, I think they call it the port. You'll need one to access the benefits that come along with you now being connected to that soldier. So shopping in the PX, which is the exchange, buying things from online. I think it's the exchange, Shop My Exchange online, those things that you want to access, like the commissary, which is the grocery store for us. They also have like a furniture store on base. If you want to purchase travel tickets, leisure and travel tickets to go to like Disney World or Sea World or Wally World or anything that you would need to access on the base, you would need a military ID card. So number one is DEERS. Number two is get a military ID card. Okay. Each base is different. So you would probably, so for like us, we would go to the Soldier Family Center or Readiness Center, make an appointment. I think now since COVID-19 hit, you have to make an appointment for everything. They're not just letting people walk in and get things. So you have to go online, research, or get with their command team to see exactly where you would need to go in order to obtain a military ID. Okay, also you get discounts in the community. Some places offer military discount. Whether they do or not, it's always better to ask than to just assume that places don't, because there are some places that do that I never thought would. For example, some clothing stores, you ask them, do you all do military discounts? Yes, they do. Nike outlet, they do. Rainbow store here in our community, they do. So some of the stores that you wouldn't think offer them offer military discount. And we all like to save money however we can, right? I know. Okay. So number three, I would say if they're going to be deploying or leaving you at any point in time, you need to get a power of attorney. A power of attorney is to protect you. It's really to protect the soldier as well. And you can get those created at the JAG office located on the installation. So there are different kinds of power of attorneys. I probably have like four, maybe five. My soldier leaves a lot. And so I remember when we first got started, I had a special power of attorney. That one so that I can make financial decisions. If I needed to change our insurance, not health insurance, but our car insurance. I needed one to purchase a car. So they have special power of attorneys. Any medical type of information that I may need to obtain, like a DEERS, they have a DEERS power of attorney. So there are different type of power of attorneys that you can look into. You can go to JAG together and they'll be able to, get you the type of power of attorney that you would need for your specific situation. So while your soldier is gone, you're still able to take care of things. Like if your ID is gonna run out, or your children who are 10 and above that have IDs, if there's gonna run out, then you have a power of attorney and you're able to take them in there without the soldier needing to be present. So and they last for a year. So I think that that's very beneficial for you to have. Number 4, you need to be listed as the beneficiary for the Serviceman's group life insurance. It's called the SGLI policy. So this is basically, their life insurance policy. If you are a spouse, or sometimes I think the parents may be listed as the beneficiary, or their children, you need to make sure you have access to that. Make sure that you're listed as the beneficiary, just in case anything happens. You never know what can happen. Unforeseen issues. There have been many soldiers whose lives have been cut short during training operations. And so I think when we were in El Paso, the track vehicle turned over and a person was like standing on the outside top of it. And so, track vehicle turned over, and, anything can happen. I remember one time there was a guy who was asleep in the middle of the night, and somebody was in the track vehicle and ran him over by accident. Anything can happen at any time, even when they're not deployed. So you want to make sure that you're listed as a beneficiary. Number 5, these are the things you need to know about your soldier, okay? You need to know their date of birth. You need to know their social security number. I would tell you to commit it to memory. When you go to the doctor's offices, if you're making appointments, they will ask you. You can have your military ID and show them that. Sometimes they'll be like, what's the last 4 of the soldier's social security number? If you don't know it, that's the issue. You're going to have to step to the side, call them, get it, So I would say learn it and make sure that you memorize it because you'll need it during... They can ask you for it at any point in time. And if they're not available, or they're out in training and they don't have good reception, and you don't have that information, you may not be able to get what it is you're trying to get. So make sure you know their date of birth, their social security number. It would be beneficial if you have their unit phone number and address, and at least one of their NCO's information in your phone or on your person. Because like I said, you never know what'll happen where they need to be contacted. So those are some key things that you should make sure that you have. Number 6, I would say visit the ACS, which is the Army Community Services building. They have so many resources for spouses. It's amazing the type of resources that they have. I'm going to list some of the ones that I know of, that I've used, and that I have shared with other people to use, for whatever they needed it for. So the Army Community Services building, I know for sure, has financial readiness and AER, which is Army Emergency Relief. So they offer financial services to soldiers and their spouses to get their finances under control. They offer free classes. Any classes that you take at the ACS, Army Community Services building, whether it's physically going there or, they may have it hold the meeting or class somewhere else, they offer childcare assistance. So as long as your child is registered with youth services on the base, you're able to do like hourly care. And that program, that class that you're taking, the Army Community Services will give you a voucher to pay for your child being looked after while you take the class or the course. So we have financial readiness, Army emergency relief. There is SFRS, which is Soldier and Family Readiness. So they help out the family readiness groups. They do the trainings for family readiness. They come in and brief everybody from the battalion commander all the way down to just like a PFC. They brief everyone about being ready for deployment and mobilization. Okay. Let's see. EFMP, that is the Exceptional Family Member Program. So they assist families with children who may have a learning disability. They also do PTSD support groups, children who have like autism. They offer parental classes, parenting classes. I have used them for IEP plans at school. So my daughter was on an IEP plan when we were at our last post, and I wanted somebody to be, my husband was deployed. I wanted somebody to be in the meetings with me so that if there's something that I didn't understand, or there were questions that I didn't think of or look up to have on hand, they were there to assist me. And so you tell them the time of the meeting, where to be, and they come out and they, chat with you before, hey, what is this about? They get all that background information, and then they come in the meeting with you. And they're like your advocate. And I felt so much better having a person there with me, to think of things that I may not have thought of to ask. But it also brought comfort to know that I wasn't there alone, although, my soldier was deployed. So that's a great, great, great resource to have, to use them, the EFMP organization. Then there is FAP, which is the Family Advocacy Program. That speaks for itself. I had an opportunity to work on a project with FAP while I was in our last post. And basically what we did was we collected all of the complaints on post that maybe spouses had or soldiers had about areas on post. And then we sat together and brainstormed about the most important ones and what we could bring up to the command team, put a list together, created a portfolio, and then brought those issues before, the command team. The most important things, that the spouses gave the feedback on, or the soldiers gave the feedback on that they thought should be fixed, ASAP. Because when it comes time for budget on the military base, you better believe people are trying to get their, ideas and things in so that the base itself could be better. So they really do advocate for families. So that's another program. And then EP, which was Employment Readiness. Employment Readiness. Woo, they help with everything from creating a resume to getting you signed up with the local workforce management. You go in their office, bring your current resume. They have computers that you can use, printers that you can use. They can even assist with connecting you to the volunteering program that's also located at ACS. And through that volunteering program, a lot of people have been able to find jobs by just volunteering. You know, you get your name out there, people see that you're dependable, that you're loyal, and they bring people on. Hey, I have this position coming available, you know, and you're there, you know, volunteering and having put that time in already. And people get hired from, you know, volunteer positions. Okay. My next one is I call it MFLC. It's Military Family Life Counselors. They are amazing, okay? You as the spouse or the soldier gets I think it's 12 visits for free to go talk to these people about anything. They are not allowed to share anything unless you're thinking about committing suicide or killing somebody. And they do ask you, and they do tell you, you know, hey, if, you know, these are things we have to look out for. If we feel that you're a threat to yourself or anyone else, we have to report it. But they are counselors, and they are there to assist you in any way that you need counseling. If you need a mediator because y'all are arguing all the time about dumb stuff or not dumb stuff, whatever. If you guys can't make your mind up about, you know, how you want to raise your children together, whatever, you know, there are so many things that, you know, can influence us or that we have opinions about that sometimes we're not able to articulate that, you know, to our spouse. And so going to see an MFLC, getting, you know, using their resources, they will tell you how to be able to speak to your spouse better, give you little tips to be able to use, you know, in those situations. So I definitely love the MFLCs. When my husband was deployed, every single time he was deployed, I set up a weekly time for my daughters. I had 2 daughters only at the time. We did to speak to the MFLC at the school. So MFLCs, they have MFLCs for every battalion. They have a battalion MFLC, and I think they have a company MFLC. They have MFLCs at the schools, any school that is predominantly military. They have MFLCs who are there to assist children, excuse me, you know, with whatever they may need. You know, my daughters went and talked to them like every Thursday. You know, how are things going? How do you feel about that? Is there anything I can help you to communicate, you know, with mom? You know, have you talked to dad? And it really, really helped them to adjust while he was gone. You know, they implemented things like she gave them an idea to email him once a week. Every Friday, email dad and tell him how your week went. And he absolutely loved that because he got to, one, he corrected their grammar. You know, he got to see their writing style. He got to have a communication with his daughters. Each one had to send an email. and that kept them connected. So it was very, very important. It turned out to be, something that they absolutely loved to do while he was away. And let's see, new parent support group for, spouses who just had a baby, learning to breastfeed, especially if you don't already have children. You can look on anything and figure out how to do it, but to have someone sit with you, the new parent support group, they will even come to your home to show you how to do stuff to make sure that you're adjusting well, that you're bonding well with your child. That group is amazing. They also have play dates for infants and toddlers, and just like right above the toddler age. You can bring your kids to their playground, meet other new parents, develop those relationships, build that sense of community in your new parent group. And then relocation. So there's this awesome thing that Army Community Service is in charge of, which is relocation. Wow, I was at my last post. Before we PCS'd, they gave us a handbook that had the new bases, everything in it. It talked about, the Army Community Services here, what they offer here, a list of contact information, the housing people's information. It was just full of resources, different things in the community that we could do as a family, hotels located on the base just in case we had to stay at one while we're in transition waiting for the house to get ready. Let's see. And they throw the best parties. At our last post, they had this huge welcoming relocation party, bounce houses, popcorn machines. They fed the people. They, had finger foods, which were sub sandwiches. I mean, all kind of kid games set out, fishing. It was absolutely beautiful. Kona Ice was there. In Texas, the armadillo showed up and took pictures with the kids. It was amazing. So relocation, they're always on point with their parties in our last post. I haven't experienced anything at this new post with relocation. So those are just some of the things that are housed under the Army Community Services umbrella. Okay. So that one was number 6. Number 7, I would say make sure that you have a life of your own. Your soldier's already transitioned. He's coming in. He's going to have to do PT. Maybe he'll be able to come home, change his clothes, and go back to work. It's already a lot. So I would say to make sure that you have a life of your own. If it's just you and your spouse and you don't have any children, you can participate in the BOSS program. I don't remember the acronym, but the BOSS programs are amazing. They do so much in the community for soldiers, and they allow their spouses to come along, especially if you don't have kids. But sometimes if they have kids, they do sometimes still allow us to partake in their programs. So they go on trips, and I mean their trips are amazing. Their trips are amazing. When we were at our last post, we went on one trip and it was skiing. Had a blast. I think they did like 3 days, and it's so affordable it doesn't even make sense. Like, we paid like $125 for both of us to go for 3 days. Where else can you get a deal like that? You can't. So if you can get connected to the BOSS program, they take trips, they have informational sessions, they throw big parties on the post for soldiers to come out, to get out of the barracks. So they are a phenomenal group that handles the BOSS program. I would say, I'm still on number 7. I would say in having your own life, if you have children, you can join the Mommy and Me groups. If you can't, look into the SGLI program if you have children, and join the Toddler and Me tumbling classes, or put your kid in gymnastics, or karate, or playing an instrument. My daughter was gonna do piano, ended up doing violin. I had another daughter who did cheer and then did competitive cheer from that. She did the Mommy and Me tumbling, then progressed from that into tumbling 1 and 2, and then she was in gymnastics. My other daughter participated in the art program. There's so much that your children can do in the SGLI program. So I'd say look into that. And then for the spouse themselves, if your soldier is between E1 to E5, W1 and 2, which is warrant officer, and O1 and 2, which is officer, you are able to receive I call it MYCAA. It's MYCAA. So it's a military career advancement account, and it's a scholarship for $4,000. Free money for you to be able to obtain a certification or certificate in whatever field you want to. They have some for billing and coding, medical billing and coding, real estate. Oh my goodness, you can use that MYCAA to obtain a, what do you call it? Associate's degree. You can use it to obtain any type, to become a pharmacist, take those classes. Phlebotomy, you can use the MYCAA, the $4,000, towards obtaining a certification for yourself, which I think is very important, because sometimes, our spouses, they're doing their thing, trying to advance in the military, and sometimes the spouse can get lost if we don't have a plan of action. So you need to make sure you write down your goals and then shoot for the stars, okay? Number 8, volunteer. If you don't have children, volunteer. Even if you have children, volunteer. Get them involved in volunteering. And the reason I said that is because you want to, if you don't have children, you want to utilize your time wisely. And like I said previously, by volunteering, you can, potentially put yourself out there to obtain a job. And it could be a government job, a GS, whatever, job. So that's very important, that you don't lose yourself and that you use your time wisely. You don't want to be stuck in the house. And I think that's the goal, is like not to be stuck in the house doing the same thing, always on social media. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, it can become overwhelming. Your spouse is out there working, they're developing these work relationships, and you want to make sure that you're developing your own relationships in the community as well. And number 9, take the AFTB courses. I enjoyed them. I'm a little weird. It's okay. They are the Army Family Team Building courses. Okay. They're free. You can take them online if you want, or you can go to ACS, sign up for them, take those courses. You can get childcare. Take the courses, right? So that you can, learn the acronyms, that your spouse is going to be coming home blurting out, the time, I think I took an etiquette class through AFTB courses. I became a master lecturer. I earned a certification in that. A briefer training course, I earned a certification in that. I earned a certification in training and development. So there's so much free stuff out there for us spouses, and I say take advantage of all of it, because if you go out into the community, for example, with the resume building, I know people who paid like $5,000 to get their resume done when they could have had it done for free at the employment readiness, and they still didn't get a job. So utilize your resources. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Number 10, your location is what you make it. I did not start out liking the first location. I did not. But once I got more involved, I loved it. To be honest, I was ready to go, but we were there for 8 years, And so, look, your location is what you make it. And I'm trying really hard to make this Georgia location something good. But during a pandemic, there's so much that's shut down. I'd have to say even before that, they don't have the type of programs that we were accustomed to in El Paso. So, trying to get the kids registered for certain things, they just don't have them developed here. And so that's the only down part right now of where we are. But it's okay. My husband's working to get us out of here. Okay. All right. Okay. And number 11, make sure that you have a family care plan. A family care plan is a plan of action for you and your family. I don't know if it's mandatory now for the soldiers to create one when they come in, but that's I think it may be mandatory, but they have to create one. The form is different for each branch of the military. But this plan of action is in case, deployments run long. Are your finances in order? Does your spouse have a POA? If your soldier decide, all of a sudden has to go to some type of training class, a TDY, you need to have that family care plan in place. In case something happens to him out there, then they have this form on file, on record, and they know who to contact. They know how to get in touch with the spouse because they have the phone number listed. You see what I'm saying? The address listed. If their next of kin listed is their parent, they have that information on the family care plan. Who to contact if the service member cannot be reached. Let's see. base numbers for your first sergeant, the sergeant major, the commander. All that information is on there. Let's see, your housing information, the soldier's housing information. What's in place for food and transportation, child care, medical care for your family that's left at home. For us, it's so beneficial to have a family care plan. Let's see. On that form, who's listed as the SGLI, the beneficiary for the life insurance. If you have a will, a living will, all that information is on that form. And it's just a quick snippet for the military to have that they can go by, go off of if anything happens during, you and your soldier being separated due to, the demands of the military. So for Army, I think the form is called DA 5305-R. For the Navy, only reason I know this is because my sister was in the Navy. It's NAVPERS NAVPERS -1740-6. But each branch of the military has their own. I'm going to throw a number 12 in there. I know I said 11, but I'm throwing a number 12. The JAG office on post, which is like this group of lawyers or what have you, who help with wills, legal advice for the soldiers and their spouses. If you don't have a will or a living will, you and your spouse can go there and have one created for free. That's number 12. You need to have a living will. It will include medical information, if something happens to you, who is the beneficiary, who would get what. We have our children on ours, and who they would go and live with if something happened to both of us. It is so important for you to have this stuff in place so that if something happens, you are prepared and you don't have to run around trying to figure out anything because it's already done. And then make sure you update that. So for us, we had 2 children when we came in, and then we had 2 more during. So we needed to go back and update that will to make sure that our last 2 are included in that. So those are Dina Marie's top 12 things that you should take care of or know when transitioning into the military. I hope that you were not bored, and that this information will be beneficial to you coming into the military. I want to say welcome, and I pray that you find a group of people and get connected to a good group of people who will teach you, who you can learn from, who can learn from you, and who are not mean, because sometimes people can be mean. Somebody who's going to answer your questions no matter how small the question is, or I just want you to be connected to a good group of people who can help you when you need help or point you in the right direction so that you can get the assistance that you need. I hope this was helpful for you. I look forward to doing another video. I think that next video that I do, I'm going to include my husband because he's coming up with some great ideas, y'all. So I want to make sure I include him on that next one. Until next time, have a good day. Faith forward. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe.